Hey y'all, it's Melon. I'm 30 years old and I just gave birth to my first child, a baby boy. And I've been vlogging my experience through the end of my pregnancy. I unexpectedly went into labor about 3 weeks early, and it probably went as smoothly as it could have. And I just wanted to continue vlogging and sharing my life experience so that I have all my memories in one place and maybe can build a little community of people that are interested in my story. So first I wanted to talk a little bit about what the labor process was like. If you're interested in following along with my journey, please be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment below if you have any new mom advice for me or anything that you want to know. Thanks. So first, my husband and I were about to go ride our new e-bikes. If you're interested in seeing that, I've got another video about them. And right when I got on the bike, I thought, oh my God, did I just pee myself? And it was kind of happening uncontrollably, like where, normally you can kind of tighten and make it stop. That wasn't happening, but I'd had an issue like that before already, so I thought that's what was going on, right? And I just thought, oh, I'll just like put some pads on or something and keep trucking, keep going, right? We went on our bike ride, we went about our day, and maybe like 5 or 6 hours later, I finally was like, okay, my bladder should be empty by now. This should have stopped. I'm still, experiencing some wetness and things down there. Maybe it's about time to see if my water broke. And even though I'm 3 weeks early, maybe this is what's happening. Maybe baby boy had another plan for me. It's funny because we were planning on that to be our day off. The next day we were gonna get ready, we were gonna clean the house, we were gonna pack my hospital bag, we were gonna have everything ready to go, start looking into pediatricians, etc. Nope, he had different plans for us and decided he was gonna come before we could handle any of that. So I didn't have any time to prepare, almost at all, but also didn't have any time to stress about it, so that's fine too. So once I got to the hospital, they got me checked in and checked everything out. I had like an initial test where I think they test the pH of the liquid that was coming out, and my husband immediately saw that it was kind of a dark blue and looked up what that meant before we got the results back. And between him and then the results, yes, it was positive. I was going into labor. And once we got our mind wrapped around that, they got me set up in a room, and I'll share probably a quick clip on what the room setup was like. Check it out. Okay, here's where I'll be. Spot for the baby. We've got my exercise balls, shower, private bathroom, space for my husband to be. And then probably it took maybe, I don't know, several hours of them, just maybe 3, 4, when I say several, 4 or 5 hours of them waiting to see if I would start dilating on my own. And things weren't really moving along. So they got me set up on an IV and started me on Pitocin to kind of help induce the labor process. And I was maybe around 1.5 centimeters at the time, and I was originally going to try to do things naturally, at least as long as I could, because once you get an epidural, you're not able to move, you're not able to walk around, you're not able to exercise and do the stretches and different strategies that you learn to manage your pain naturally. So I wanted to try to make it as long as I could. They had lost the key to the nitrous, so I wasn't able to do like the laughing gas, and then the other medicine they have I couldn't have because of the interactions with the other medication that I'm on. It wouldn't have been safe for me to do that. So pretty much I had to just, go as long as I could. And once they got me on the Pitocin, it was a couple hours later, and then, things escalated really quickly. I started experiencing the contractions. They were getting worse and worse, and my husband was a trooper. He was very helpful and rubbing my back and helping me with essential oil smells and keeping me calm. And just being there for support and whatever I needed. And I was able to stretch and move around a little bit at first. And then eventually it got to a point where I was like screaming and couldn't, it was frequent and we didn't have enough time to take a break. So I was like, give me the epidural, I'm ready. And she said, do you want me to check and see how far dilated you are? And I was like, no, just make it happen. Once she then put the epidural in, it was immediate sigh of relief. She did check and I was already at 7 centimeters. So I would say it either escalated really fast or I did pretty good making it as long as I could, because you go up to 10, I believe. And then at that point, things kept escalating quickly. So it probably only then took like another hour or two, and maybe 2 hours or so, because I ended up having to get the doctor back in to top off my epidural fluids and to renew me, because I was hitting that button every 10 minutes like I could. It was just, after several, I was like, is it even working? It's not working. I had to increase my dose, and it was basically barely keeping up with my body. I was in so much pain because I was escalating quickly. So it only took like another 2 hours or so before she checked again and was like, okay, baby's there. He is ready to go. So at that point, they taught me how to do some practice pushes. They cut me in a mirror and let me check things out and, see if I could see him, which was really neat because we could. And then it was probably about an hour and a half of pushing, and my husband was there with me. He was a trooper. He was pushing too, giving me all of his energy. He was exhausted after, probably more than I was. I went into adrenaline mom mode. But yeah, and it was, it went really smoothly. I would say, once I started pushing and I had the epidural, it really wasn't too bad at all. I mean, I deal with pain on the regular, so even though it had escalated and was getting worse and maybe I could still feel things a little bit, I'm so glad I got the epidural. It was so worth it. Made it way more tolerable. So, by the end, the baby was really wiggling and trying to help and trying to scoot himself down and out. He was in the right position, and the doctor had him, and the last few pushes, he just came right out, and he didn't tear me up too bad. I only got, they said, like barely a 1st degree tear, basically, and then some other, scratches and things like that. So don't get me wrong, I'm definitely have been sore. I've needed ibuprofen and the witch hazel and, the sprays to help with pain management and things like that. But I'm sure it could have been so much worse. I'm so blessed and so lucky. Thank you God for being there with me through it. And I just could not be more grateful for God and my guides and my family and my support system and my husband and my doctors, who were all just angels helping me through the process and delivering a really healthy baby, other than he was 3 weeks early. So I guess that's a little bit just about my labor story, and then my doctor's gonna be here in just a minute, and then I'll come back and tell you a little bit about what's going on with baby boy. So if you're interested in following along, please be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you.